Good evening and welcome to Lee Judges TV. And what a day of sport it has been today. Whether you love your tennis, cricket or football, you've had it all today. Listen, first and foremost, the tennis was sensational today. Nadal proving that he's superhuman. Then you go on to the cricket. Yorkshire unbelievably beat Surrey today. Don't know how they did it, but they did. And of course, the England ladies have won today 1-0. And guess what? Beth Mead, the goal scorer, and she plays for the Arsenal. So it's been a fantastic day of sport, and it just keeps on getting better and better. And to finish it off, we've got Lee Judges TV at the end of the night, just after Love Island, because that's where Dan's been, I'm pretty sure. But before we go into that, I've been in the doctor's surgery today. That's why I've been a little bit late. Dan's not feeling too good, and I'm not telling you what's wrong with Skegness. Dave, it's best that we keep that between ourselves, and I think that I will. But before we go into that, you know the thing that I do with BetVictor. Listen, go over there and subscribe and watch the channel. They're talking about that horrible new signing of Tottenham. Richarlison, is he worth 60 million? Take a look what they think, and hopefully you agree with me.
You start spending £60 million on people that you're not even guaranteed to be in your front three. Is Harry Kane off?
No, come on, that's ridiculous. This isn't about Harry. Stop digging it.
Ronaldo to Bayern Munich, Harry Kane to Man United.
We'll have if that happens, we'll have another conversation at another time. But not
come
in
on.
a million.
Europa League football's awaits, Harry.
Look, we're building around Conte's vision. That's what's happening, and part of that is having quality depth in our squad. And you're right. It's strange that we've spent this much money on Everton's best player. Let's get that said, but one doesn't actually go straight into our first 11.
Yes, people, welcome back to the show. Great discussion there in relation to Richarlison at BetVictor. Go check it out. Welcome to Lee Judges TV. I'm back. I'm your host, Dan Potts. I've had a nice time at the Silverstone Grand Prix, which is why I'm looking wind-chapped and sun-tanned, just like Lee Judges is. But we have to start by asking Lee how he is and how he's got on the last couple of days, because I know you were a busy boy. How was yesterday, mate?
I had a fantastic day. I don't know if you see the socials and all that, but went to an event with the FA with Nationwide and Nationwide's head offices, and it was absolutely wonderful. Didn't know who the England player was going to be. They didn't tell us. They just said there was going to be an England player there talking about mental health and bullying and things like that, campaigns that they're doing. And love and behold, it was Paul Merson, but also there was Will Poulter.
Imagine if it was Kevin Campbell. Imagine if it
was
unbelievable.
If it would have been Kevin Campbell. But he gave me a little bit of stick. We had a bit of a laugh, me and Paul. He slaughtered me in front of. I actually the people that I was with were all Spurs fans because they're like teammates of the team that I played. And I told Paul that they was Spurs mates, and it didn't stop him still slaughtering me, So a bit out of order. But also met the actor. Will Poulter as well, I don't know if you know, Meet the Millers and all things like actually his kid, Jennifer Aniston, which we was asking him about, lucky sod, getting paid for that, as a young kid. So, but lovely fella, big gooner as well. I
didn't know he was a gooner.
Nor did I, But so it was a good day. Paul Merson told me that he was with Edu at the weekend, and Edu said that there would be two big signings coming to Arsenal very, very soon. And of course, then there's been some news out today that they're close to someone today. So all in all, exciting. And what is great, Dan, is that we're getting hopefully another couple. And when I listen to the BetVictor thing there, and they're saying about 60 million for Richarlison, he's going to be a backup, they are the days, and that's what we want. We want to be talking in that sort of conundrum, don't we, really? And hopefully we will do. But listen, Paul's very, very honest person. Don't pull no punches when it comes to Arsenal. People don't like him for it, but I can tell you this now, he is big Arsenal man, as you well know. And he actually said to me that if these come off late, Arsenal are going to be a really, really good team next season. Really exciting times, he said. And I think you will be excited. Because I actually said to him, the Jesus one's a good sign, but I'm still not excited. But he turned around and said, if these two signings come off, he said, Lee, trust me, you will be.
Well, let's hope Paul Merson's right, and I'm a big fan. I really like it because he says it how he is. He's one of the very few pundits that says it how it is, to be fair.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
I like that, and you can tell he cares. You can tell he's passionate. He loves the Arsenal. He's a Chelsea fan, and some people give him stick for that, but actually he does love the Arsenal. If you do go and ever meet him and chat to him, you can just tell he loves the Arsenal. So let's hope he's right, Lee. I want to get a little bit of an understanding about where Paul Merson's head's at with that while he's spoken to Edu, because I know he hasn't given much away there, and he's just said that a couple of players are going to be coming in, and he thinks it's going to be an exciting time for the Arsenal, and as you say, quote, to say that he thinks will be a good team next season. So I think it backs up the claims that me and you had last stream, saying that there's no more kind of excuses if this window's a good one. He's got to, we've got to get into that Champions League by either winning that trophy of the Europa League or getting in the top four, and that's the bare minimum. So I think that stands. So we don't need to go over that again. Before I do go into what some of these positions we might need, I'm sure you all agree with me, mate. I don't really want to go into any of the off-the-field politics stuff today in relation to all the stuff we've heard in the last couple of days on social media. I'm not interested in mixing football and politics. I just don't do it. So if people want to talk about it in the chat, we won't be bringing it on the stream because it's all just rumours, and the only rumours we're interested in at the moment are the transfer rumours. So, Lee, let's talk a little bit about a couple of signings that Paul Merson has said that we might be looking at. If you're to have a bit of a punt and a bit of a guess, what positions do you think that we should be excited about in relation to these two names that you think, or that Paul Merson thinks will be coming into the Arsenal, mate?
Well, I think I'm not. Listen, I don't. No names were quoted and everything like that. But I've got a little feeling this Martinez one's going to go over the door. Like, you know what I mean? I do. I think it's going to be a left-sided defender of some sort. A defender, definitely, like, you know. And I think it's going to be a midfield player. Now, again, I think people are going right onto the Tillemans one again today. I think that's come up a lot more, that an actual bid has now been put in and all that. I don't know about that, whether it is or not. Like Savic is another one that, you know, bids a little. I think Arsenal have been working on something quietly, but listen, Paul was confident. He was saying that these two signings are going to make Arsenal stronger. They're going to be a real good team. He was also bigging up Jesus signing. He said that was a good one, and I actually said to him that, you know, and I don't mean being negative or anything like this when I say this. You know, Jesus is a good signing, but that doesn't convince me that we're going to go to Crystal Palace and turn them over. Then, you know what I mean? But if we had another midfield player in there, a goal scoring midfield player or whatever there, and another central defender left side player that's going to, because I'm, you know, at this moment in time, Cedric's our left back. You know, people going, oh, Tierney's trained. Tierney's got to come through a pre-season yet, play 3 or 4 games before he can even thought about being in the first team. Bearing in mind, this is a player that's never lasted more than 9 games. He's never gone to 10 consecutive games for Arsenal. I don't know how many years he's been there. It's been 3 years now. He doesn't make 10 consecutive games. So when you know that he's going to break down, you need someone to come in there that's going to be solid and someone that's a bit more reliable than a Tavares who's taking off every 45 minutes. I'm sorry, if that position is not filled this summer, I worry when people go, well, yeah, the process and the plan is that, well, we all know that we need a left-sided defender. We all also know that we need a midfield player. We know that because we've watched Arsenal for a lot. So if we know that, then surely the people in charge do, like, you know. I think that they're important, those positions, and I think they're vitally important, Dan, that we get those players before we go to America. You know, the players are in Germany now, so they're obviously not looking at that as a thing. But that flagship tour to America, they need to have them players in place, getting them games under their belt. I think a winger. I think that if that does come up, I think that'd be towards the end of the transfer window, because it's not a desperation position for us. Do you know what I'm saying? We've got cover in there in a few areas. We could probably wait and negotiate a little bit more in the transfer window. But for me, these two positions are vital. The other thing is, I think it's worth mentioning that players like Leno, that I thought were stone way to go, like, do you know what I mean? Like, and we were talking about this earlier on, you know, someone just put the chat fan out for, you know, Leno on his way to Fulham. I think Fulham, I think Leno's better than Fulham. That's in my opinion, like, you know what I mean? So But no one seems to be going anywhere at this moment, So we just have to
Good
see
move
what.
for Fulham. I'll tell you that. It'd be a great move for Fulham. That
Yeah,
they
he's
get
a
Leno.
top goalkeeper. I think he's a good goalkeeper. He's too good to be a number 2. I get that, but I think a Fulham or a Notts Forest or someone like that. I think he should be going for an established team that's a European team as well. So.
I agree. I would have thought he would have gone over to Italy and looked at a Lazio or Napoli or someone like that level. So I'm with you there. But before we come into the 2 names that we've been linked with the last couple of days, apparently breaking news is, because I've checked it and it is true, that Arsenal have put in and submitted an official bid for someone I've never heard of, a Lille winger called Edon Zigrova, a Kosovan 23-year-old from Lille. I've no idea who he is, Lee, but apparently he's a silky little player. And all I will say is this, without knowing anything about him, Lille have produced some very good players. Lille have produced some players that have come to the Premier League and haven't quite made it, i.e. Nicolas Pepe. So when we look at who Lille have recruited and scouted over the years, they've got some absolute worldies in there, like the likes of Eden Hazard. But they've also had players that haven't quite worked out. So let's see where we go with this one. I don't know what the bid is. It's not said it. Just says over a few sources that are fairly reliable, I imagine, on Twitter, that we have submitted an official bid. It looks like this Rafinha situation is going. So Lee, I want to get your thoughts on this, if this is to be true, and it's looking like it is. You said not long ago, only a few seconds ago, that a winger was not a priority, but it seems that Mikel and Edu believe that it is, because that's Rafinha they've tried to get now, and now this guy. So it just shows you where their priorities lie, really, don't it, mate?
Laughable, isn't it? Laughable. They've gone from Rafinha to someone we've never heard of. I don't know. Another one for we signed Marcanese, whatever his name is. He's a winger, isn't he? And a future one. I'll tell you what, we're going to be one of the best teams in the future, aren't we? With all these young. I'm sorry, I've never heard of him, but that's not. I'm not going to criticise that. We'll wait and see what happens, but we'll have to wait and see.
I'll tell you, can I just say something, mate? I think they look at our streams and they look at our titles and they proper mess us around, because we've come on here and said it a few times. Come on, how long does it take to sign Jesus? That day we sign him, we come on here and say 2 big names are coming to Arsenal, and we sign a winger who no one's heard of. It is quite laughable, really.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I really don't. It just seems. Listen, I'm going to be really honest. That ain't the one that Paul Merson on, because he turned around and said these are players that are going to improve Arsenal and be, he actually said to me, I think you will be excited. You will be excited when this happens, and Arsenal will be a good side. Well, I'm not being over. He's not going to make.
Is it Ronaldo and Neymar then? Is it, or what?
I don't know who it is. Neymar's available, isn't he? So listen,
he's Brazilian, mate. He's Brazilian,
Yeah, that's right. There's players available. We'll have to wait and see. Listen, Arsenal do things very, very quietly. You know what I mean? I don't know even if that Edu's named the names to Paul Merson. He might have just kept them. These are going to be two exciting players he's working on at the moment. And the good thing is, whatever way you look at it, they're working on things. Dan, you know what I mean? So. We're just going to have to.
We are going to have to wait and see. And do you know what? I'll reserve judgment, Lee, until they play in an Arsenal shirt, because I'm going to hold judgment on Fabio Vieira until he kicks a ball. Likewise, Mark Knoss. If we sign this lad, I'll hold it until he starts to play football, because I did the same with Tommy Asu. I'd never heard of him. Aaron Ramsdale, we all thought was going to be a disaster and a calamity when he was at Sheffield United, and he's come in and done a great job. And over the years, how many Arsenal players have we signed that are top quality for top money that have come in and done the absolute business? It's normally been the Nicolas Anelkas, the Thierry Henrys, the Patrick Vieiras of this world that have come in that you think, who? And then all of a sudden they're top quality. So that you can't always laugh and poo-poo these signings you've never heard of. So I will say that as well. But they've gone for 2 wingers. You've got Saliba coming back, a goalkeeper back up. And now and they've got Jesus up top. So let's talk about the midfield, because we'll come on to some of the other positions that I feel we need to fill in a minute. But we're starting to see teams move now, Lee. Chelsea are starting to make moves, so are Manchester United, and of course Arsenal were rumoured to sign more than just Jesus. The two names that we've mentioned in this stream are two names of players that, one, I would absolutely love at Arsenal. The other, I don't know much about. But speaking to Harry Simeon, who does a lot of work in Serie A, he loves this bloke and he wants him as his number one target, and he thinks he is going to be mustard if we get him, this Savic guy. So Savic and Tielemans are the two we're going to talk about. Now, I would suggest, Lee, and I don't know, correct me if you think I'm wrong, that we should try and go for both of them, in my opinion, because both of those midfielders are going to be available from what we're being told, and they're probably going to cost a combined 60 million that we were prepared to stump up front for Rafinha. What do you think of that?
Well, exactly. You know what I mean? And that's why I don't believe for one iota about the Rafinha one, because if you're prepared to play £60 million for a player like that, then you should be like looking at two midfield players to fill that. You know, listen, I make you right. I think we need two midfield players. You know, and we need one that's going to go. As I say, it's Savage one. I don't really know too much about. I don't really watch a lot of Italian football. I'm not going to lie. Tielemans, I like. I've watched him because of what he's done in the Premier League, and I like that. And I like that the fact that Premier League prove him is a good thing, like, you know. So we'll have to wait and see. You know, there are players out there that are available now. You know, Savage is being rumoured as you know, a lot of credible people are saying that is the case. But, you know, I think it's 55 million. I think that they're looking for, Dan, I think, or 55 million euros. You know, I think he's got 1 year left of his contract, so I don't see how he's going to be 55 million, or has he got two? I don't know. Why are we going for players with 2 years in their contract when there's players for 1 year we can get at? It just seems to me like, you know, it's all ploy. It could be all cover up or whatever. I don't know. When it comes to Arsenal and transfer business, I don't think it's very good. I really don't. I think we mess about trying to scrimp and scrape and things like that. You know, the Jesus thing taking a week to announce it, to me, just it's small club mentality, Dan. You know what I mean? Like a big club turns around and goes, there's it, we signed Jesus, bring him out, parade him out, we move on to the next one. To me, you know, like, oh, let's have a fanfare, let's make it all massive and all that, like, you know, for a £45 million player that surplus requirements to Manchester City, making it out to be something spectacular. It may well be a very, very good move, because it does seem a little bit like what Sanchez was at Barcelona. But you know, don't be going on this marquee, so like the marquee signing, because, you know, if it is, then you know, we have dropped down the food chain dramatically.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think the transfer window can be frustrating for a lot of teams, but certainly when it comes to Arsenal, it does seem that we dither. Now, I want to ask you this, Lee. I'll come on to who you'd rather have out the two in a minute, but what does this mean for some of our current midfielders? Now, we know there's going to be some outgoings. I don't want to concentrate on the Torreiras and the Maitland-Niles. We believe they're going to be going. But I'm talking about Lokonga, Thomas Partey, El Neni and Granit Xhaka. We've got 4 in there already, and if these two are going to come in, what does that mean for the current squad, and who do you think will be probably looking to get rid of, mate?
It will improve it. The fact of the matter is, those 4 midfield players were here last season without no European football and fouled. Not only them, but the midfield wasn't good enough. One of them wasn't there hardly at all. The other one came in halfway through right at the back end of the season in El Neni and done well and earned himself a contract. But El Neni's a good backup. Lokonga, I don't know if he's ready or not. You know what I mean? If I'll be honest, there's a player in there, but you know, what he done last season, he's not going to come in this season and smash it. It's just not going to happen. I think he needs a loan move and constant game time. Whether he get that or not at another club or not, I don't know. But what I will say about this is that this is where the Europa League will be good, because he should be playing in that week in, week out. Hopefully he gets in there and and gets plenty of
Do you
game
think we'll
time.
keep them all then, Lee? Do you think we'll keep a lot of them and ads instead of getting rid of a couple, or do you expect to Granit Xhaka to go? Or?
No, if we bring in one, I think that we're the 5 midfield players they're probably like I would imagine keep them. I'd definitely keep Lokonga till January anyway, because you've got all those games in Europa League and get there and then see where we are from there. But yeah, I think we're going to need a big squad. There's going to be lots of games next season. I think the difference between this season and last season, as far as squad depth and everything, is we didn't have a lot of competitions last season. So a lot of games last season were one game, and then like you'd have the week off and then you play again. So it's very, very hard to keep a squad of and keep players self-motivated when they're not playing and then all the time. But this time around, Dan, you've got the League Cup and the Europa League before Christmas, and obviously after the World Cup. Then after that, you've got the FA Cup coming into it, and hopefully the Europa League as well. So there's going to be lots of games for all players. So I think you need a big squad. I do think you need a big squad, but ultimately it's no good saying a big squad. We've got to get quality players in there, and we need a couple more. I think quality players. Listen, if Partey gets injured or what goes on, we don't know what's going on with him at this moment in time, but he's not available. We're where we were last season. It wasn't good enough, you know what I mean? So it needs to be looked at anyway, and whatever happens with Thomas Partey, he's not going to last the season anyway through fitness because he breaks down. So I'm desperate for a midfield player to come in. I'm really it's not moaning or being criticised or being down and all that. I've been watching this club, watching this team for all of last season, and all of that season, I was saying we was weak in midfield. I keep going on about it, you know what I mean. Thomas Partey come off a plane on a Tuesday night and played a Tuesday morning and played on a Tuesday night. What does that tell you about the midfield, Dan? It was telling me that he's not strong enough and we didn't have enough cover for it. So here we are. It's still not been addressed, Yeah. And we've got at the moment, as you say, Maitland-Niles and Torreira that can play in there, but basically they don't want to be here, do they? So these things need to be addressed, and if they're not addressed, then I'm looking at Mikel Arteta because he's allowed it to happen, and I really do think that if you've got the clout to say, oh, hold on a minute, I want this player, and I want that player, because I tell you what, someone down the road has done that, and it seems to be going very, very seemingly well down there because of a manager that's got a bit of clout. Now I want our manager, like if he goes into the season with that midfield, that tells me he's happy with that midfield, and then on your shoulders be it, Mikel, and that's how it's got to be. Because I can tell you that now, if I was the manager, I wouldn't be happy with that midfield.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate, and it's funny because we need so much surgery in there, but we've already got about 7 players that can play in there. The problem we got, Lee, is those 7. There's only really one that I think's any good in terms of, a first 11 player anyway. So, and I'm not talking about the Odegaards and Vieiras, I'm talking about the players you've just mentioned. Yeah. So we're linked with 2, which means we're going to get one. That's what it means to me. We're linked with Savic, we're linked with Tielemans. Now let's start with Tielemans because we're the player we know quite a lot about. How would you rate this signing? Would you rate this as highly as someone Paul Merson was mentioned as being exciting and can take us forward? Where's your head at with the Tielemans signing? Because for me, I think he'll be a really good signing. I really like the kid. I said to you I watched last season quite a lot about with him and Maddison because the 2 players I liked. And Tielemans brings a lot more defensive qualities to his game than a lot of people give him credit for. I think he's also a link-up player and a number 8. I think he can play a lot more far forward if he needs to. He can score goals. He can create goals. So I think that number 8 position is probably going to be replaced by Granit Xhaka, by somebody like him. So let's start with him first. What do you make of this signing if it happens, mate?
Look, listen, I would be very, very happy with that player. I think he's a very, very good player. He's also had a bit of experience in the Premier League. He knows what it's like to do that. And I think it would be an easy transformation coming to Arsenal than maybe, say, getting someone from abroad. That doesn't mean to say that it's not going to work if we get someone like a Savage or whatever like that. I think if it's 20 million to 30 million pound, I don't. If you're prepared to pay 60 million for Rafinha, why are you not prepared to pay 30 million? I don't understand that. It's a a good fit. If I'll be honest, I think that he would improve our midfield. And go from there. Listen, a lot of people are saying about Savage, and I listened to what Harry's saying. I think Harry knows his stuff and everything like that, and he's saying that Savage is a real top player. Now, if he's better than Tielemans, then I'll go for Tielemans. There, I'll go for Savage. You know what I mean? If you can only have one, but listen. I'll be happy with either, Dan. Either one of them, whoever comes in, I'll be happy with. But because I can say this now, when it comes to the transfers and they get the players over the line, Arsenal, they've done pretty well. They've done pretty well. The way they go about it and everything else it isn't fantastic. But once they've gotten them through the door, they're pretty good. So I do believe in the backing of Arteta and Edu when it comes to that, but I have to question what the delay is. This we've known since January. Forget about this transfer. We've known since January that we've been weak in midfield. We knew that Arsenal were weak. If there weren't a big telltale sign, I was there at Nottingham Forest when we lost that day there. That told me that we are lacking in midfield. Central midfield. Down to the bare bones. You know what I mean? That was in January. It's still not been addressed. So when people say, "Oh, stop moaning" and all that, you know what I mean? Why have a go at the fans that are moaning, not have a go at the people that are not doing their jobs properly? I.e., getting that job over the line, getting the proper players in for that. It's starting to wind me up a little bit that we're going for wide players all the time when we not really necessarily need them. You know what I mean? Like, we're desperate.
I get that.
So why don't we go in and get that? You know what I mean? I didn't see us being desperately poor against Nottingham Forest and other teams in those wide areas because we had Saka, Martinelli, Smith Rowe that could play there and Pepe, So I didn't really see that. I didn't see any of them coming off a plane on the.
Yeah, I think.
I
think I reckon they're probably going for a few targets at once, aren't we? I'd like to think they're going for a few targets at once, and I'm with you. I don't see it as a priority as wide men unless some of them are leaving. Pepe could be going. This Mark Quinos has come in. I don't know if he's going to go back out on loan or if he's going to be a part of the squad. I'm yet to see what he's like. And they're saying that Fabio Vieira can play wide as well. So, if we're going to be going for this guy from Lille now, that nobody's really heard of, then they're obviously looking at things differently to where we are in terms of getting players in through the door first. So Jesus was definitely a priority. I think that was the number one big one to get in. Let's hope that one of these two, Savic or Tielemans, is going to be another. Tom from Laguna Talk, big up yourself, Tom. Hope you're well. He said, to be fair, Lee, we weren't ever prepared to pay 60 million for Rafinha. To be honest with you, Lee, I think you agreed with that. To be honest, didn't you? You said to me you don't believe that to be true.
Yeah, no, I think like we was, I think that's the going rate, when we was prepared to pay like £39.43p for him, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what it would seem to me. But no, I hear what Tom's saying there. We wasn't prepared to do that. But say if even if we was prepared to pay 50 million, still a lot of money for an area where I think we need more improvements in other places. I've said it all along, and I'll say it again. If we don't get a midfielder and a backup left back, then I'm a left-sided player. I will be going into this window disappointed. It's so far. People turn around to me and go, no, again, like people go, oh, you're moaning and whatever. People are going around to me and go, it's a good window so far. I'll go, is it? Have we improved our central forward line as much? We last season going into a season without Europe, we had Aubameyang, Lacazette, Eddie and Balogun. This time around, we've got obviously Gabriel Jesus, and we've got the new Eddie and Balogun. So we're one down on that, and we ain't got European. And we got European football this season. We were prepared to come in with four strikers last season without European football. Now we've got European football. We've only got 3. So when people turn around and go, "Oh yeah, it isn't, Dan." It's not, you know what I mean? The facts are there, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I don't think it takes Einstein to work out we might need another centre forward, but I don't know if we're going to get one, mate.
There you go, like, you know what I mean? Then you look at you know, you might be able to get away with it, the workload. So we'll see. You look at it's the same midfield as last season. You know, people go, oh well, Vieira's coming here. Vieira's coming here to share the load of Odegaard. That's a different position completely. I look at the fact
we've got to prepare for the worst, Lee, as well, because if I give you an example, right, let's just take the midfield and the centre forwards as an example. We're saying we're short in those. I think you're right, and I agree we're short up top. But why I think striker's more important at the moment is because if we keep our midfield, it's not good enough. We know that. But let's just say that Thomas Partey gets an ACL, which could happen because he's been injured most of the time he's played Arsenal football. We've got El Neni to come in. If El Neni gets a knock or sent off, we've got Lokonga. Jesus gets an ACL, we've got Eddie up front. If he gets sent off, where's our centre forward? We ain't got one. So I think we're so short up top in comparison to midfield. Now, I know that the quality might be different. We might have Jabiel Jesus and only El Neni, so I think the quality is different. But I still feel we need a tall, profiled striker like a Tammy Abraham or like a Scamacca, whoever we link with, in terms of someone who's 6'5" target man, someone who can do what Olivier Giroud used to do for Arsenal, a little bit of a different dimension striker. Someone that when we're crossing the ball, we're not crossing it to two midgets. Jesus is about 5'8", isn't he? And Eddie Nketiah ain't much taller than that. So actually someone who can give us a little bit of a difference, I think we need to see. Now in midfield, we've got enough heads, they're just not quite good enough. But I don't even think we've got enough heads up top. I really think we're short still, mate.
Yeah, I agree. I think we do need that plan B option. Like, you know, I mean, the trouble is, Dan, you're not going to spend 70, 80 million pound on it when you've got Eddie on a big contract and Jesus. So I think it'd be like someone coming towards the end of his career or someone that can come on and do it. I think that we do. But definitely would you
rather,
need
if we're 60 million for Rafinha, I'd rather go 60 million for a centre forward, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but the trouble with Rafinha, he's
if that's true, of course. The rumours are that weren't true. But,
yeah, you know, the centre forward is only going to play in one position. So I do feel that's the thing. The thing is, at the moment, when you look at Jesus and you look at Eddie to a certain degree, they can play in different positions. They can move around a little bit. If you've got a big centre forward, he ain't going to, you know, you're not going to be happy if he's playing right wing, are you? He's going to be down the centre. I don't know what they're going to do there, but I think they need to do that. I don't think they will, by the way. I think that's gone. As I say, you know, so I just think, you know, people go, oh, like, you know, enjoy the transfer, enjoy the summer and all that. Like, you know, I mean, I'm enjoying the summer and all that. Like, but you still, people go, like, actually talking to someone today, and they said, "You look, are you looking forward to the summer?" No, I'm not looking forward to the start of the season.
Not the moment.
But I tell you what, if I pick up the phone tomorrow and or over the weekend, and Tillemans is signed, and or somebody of that ilk and a defender, you know, Martinez comes in, then I will be, because do you know what? I genuinely think that we'd be in a position where we could really give it a good go next season. Really give it a good go, and if we got those players in, then I think, you know, 12 defeats could turn into 6. And well, if that happens, we're going to be in a good position, like, you know. So that's the job that Arsenal got to do that, you know. And people will keep going, oh, the transfer window's not closed yet. I get that. The season starts in less than 4 weeks on Saturday. You know what I mean? Like, the team goes on a pre-season tour in 2 weeks to America. You know, you've got to, and we've got to be battle ready for that game. Well, the one good thing about the Jesus signing is that at this moment in time, Dan, he's out there in Germany. He's going to be out there in America. He's going to get used to the players. So come that game on the Friday, he's going to be ready, isn't he? Like, you know what I mean? So ready to give it battle, like, you know. It's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks till the season kicks off at the weekend. 5 weeks. So we've got 5 weeks to get in a couple of players. Now, 5 weeks, come on, is a long time in a transfer window, surely. And so hopefully in 5 weeks we can get another couple over the line, surely, before the season starts.
Yeah, I hope so, mate. I mean, we will do. Let's be honest. Arsenal are going to sign players because they simply have to, mate. Before we come to our last section, 2 things, guys. If you could please smash a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, that would be great. And if you can come and support my new channel as well, that would be even better. Football's 12th Man podcast on YouTube. If you haven't done so already, go over there, hit a sub for me. I'm on the road to 3K, so if you could help me to get there, that'd be amazing. Thank you very much, guys. Lee, let's do this lastly, mate. I'll tell you where I'm at in terms of where I think we still need to strengthen, and I'm going to put the same question to you.
Okay.
If you can whack some questions in the chat, guys, we'll take a couple of them before we do wrap up. We'll get Dave to flick them up, and we will answer them, myself and Lee. I'm going to tell you where I'm still at, mate. Let's go through the squad as it stands and where I still feel we're going to be shortly. So in goalkeeper, I think it's done. We know that Leno's going to be leaving. We know that Turner's going to come as the backup replacement, and Ramsdale's going to be the number one. I don't think we're going to get another right back. I would question that perhaps we do need one, but I think Tommy Yasu Cedric and this young kid, Norton Cuffy, are probably going to be the three options there. At centre back, I again think we're safe. I don't think there's going to be anybody there. I don't think this trusty's going to come and do anything. Pablo Maria, I imagine, will leave. Saliba will come in. Ben White, Gabriel and Holding. So I don't expect any centre halves to come in, if I'm honest with you. At left back, however, we do need somebody. Nuno Tavares looks like he's probably going to be either sold or loaned out. Kieran Tierney, we all know that he's probably not going to be fit for the whole season, if he is fit at all for the start of it. So we definitely need some cover there. So a left back for me is an absolute must as a first position. Looks like Lissandro Martinez is rumoured, but Manchester United want him as well. My only thing about that is they've put in a bid of 50 million plus for Anthony at Ajax. I'll be amazed if they go for Martinez as well, and Ajax sell both those two players, two of their best players, to Manchester United, as well as the link with Ten Hag. I'll be amazed if that happens, but could be wrong, could be happening. But that looks to be like somebody that we're looking at least. Can play left centre back, can play defensive midfield, can play left back, would be a good signing. If he's not going to come in, then maybe we could do something with Zinchenko. But again, I'm not so sure that he wants to play at left back, and would he come to Arsenal? In centre of midfield, Thomas Partey. For me, we need a backup. I like Lokonga, bits of it, but I haven't seen enough to convince me that he's ready, and I think he probably needs to go out on loan and we get somebody else in. Or we keep him as cover, like you say, he plays a few of the Europa League games, League Cup games, and he plays in part of the squad. But I would look to go for somebody like Ibrahim Sangare at PSV. There's a lot of rumours that we're going to have quite a lot of links with some of the defensive-sided players, and maybe Savic or Tielemans can play in that kind of role. But I think really we need somebody to hold in there. We definitely need a number 8 to upgrade on Granit Xhaka. I know you're a big fan of him and what he represents, but actually I think it's time, and you agree that it's time for an upgrade on that position. And he can play and stay in cover as well as El Neni, but actually he probably wants to go and play first team football, and I don't blame him at his age. He knows he's got another few years at the top level of the game, so I expect if we do get a number 8, him to go. So Tielemans or Savic would be really good in my opinion. Fabio Vieira and Erdegaard and Smith Rowe can all play in any of the attacking options, whether it be an attacking 8 or a number 10, and they can go wide. I think Saka and Smith Rowe and Martinelli are going to take up the wide men areas, and it looks like we're going to buy a winger to replace Pepe, who I think needs to go because he's fallen out of love with him, Mikel Arteta. Then we look at the centre forwards. Jesus and Nketiah for me isn't enough, and we do need a different type of striker. I know it's not going to be Tammy Abraham or Victor Osimhen. I don't think we're going to spend that much money. But if we can get somebody like Scamacca who's going to come in for between 30 and 40, I think that would be a really good option. People will say this isn't FIFA, but actually, do you know what? We have to play a bit of FIFA now because we've left ourselves so short. And I understand you can't go and get 20 players, but you can't get rid of players and just not replace them for 5 windows. You have to go and get these players in. So where I'm saying we're still shortly, and I'll put the same question to you, is I think we need another left-back backup. I think we need another defensive midfielder. I think we need another number 8. I think we need a winger if Pepe's going to go. And I still think we need a centre-forward, which is 5 more players. Where do you stand on that, mate?
Yeah, I'm not going to argue that. I think you make a great point about Xhaka. I think that if we do get someone in and he wants to go, I would take the money, and then if he does go, then we need to go with 2 midfield players. So, but if he decides that he wants to fight and play for his place, then it would be great for me. But at this moment in time, I'll still state he's the best midfield player at the club at this moment in time. Thomas Partey, it probably is, but he doesn't play enough for my liking. That's how I feel. So I do feel we need to get in there. I think for me, that's priority. I do think that's priority. I think that we need to before we get centre forwards or wide players in there, is get that midfield. up and running and making sure it's better than what it is. It's not good enough. It's not good enough depth-wise. Actually, if we got 2 midfield players and we had El Neni and Xhaka backing that up, you'd say, well, that's not bad. You know what I mean? Like Partey and another 2 battling for it. That ain't bad. It needs improving, Dan. I also think that, you know, the left back, I think is something that you've got to go in there. And I think that, you know, when you look at it with the 5 sub rule, I do think that we need to be a lot, you know, really strong in squad depth. I look at it last season. I said it before. There was players on the bench I never heard of. You know, young kids that haven't even had a game for the Arsenal yet. You know, that can't be. You can't have that next season with 5 substitutes when you've got other teams changing it around because they've got players that they can do. So we need to have players, game changers on the bench as well, not just players that are just going to fill in and be that game changer. So if things ain't going well, we're going to bring on players that are going to improve the team, not diminish it and make it worse, you know. So I think that, you know, these next 2 weeks of 2 or 3 weeks going into pre-season now, because pre-season, once you start playing games and it hots up a little bit, we need to be, you know, 4 or 5 players, and that would be a good thing for me, like, you know. So, but I honestly don't think, you know, that Arsenal will spend 40-50 million on a backup striker. I don't know if there's some, you know, Jolovic from Real Madrid went for nothing today to Florentino. Why are we not in for him? You know what I mean? Like something like that. You know, you can't go wrong, can you, if it's a free transfer? You know what I mean? Like,
that's the type of profile I'd be looking at. And I know he has had a bad couple of years, but he was quality at Frankfurt. He really was.
He was. He was.
Yeah, it's a player that I like. Let's take this one from Mr. Waffle. Mr. Waffle, I absolutely love Mr. Waffle. What a legend. He always comes in the chat. I'll let you have this one, Lee. Out of the first 11, which players would you get rid of and who would you replace them with? That's a good question.
It is a good question.
Our first 11 ain't that bad if you look at
our first 11 is not that bad. I'll say it's not that bad, and it isn't. You know, if they're all fit and playing, it's not a bad thing. I would let Xhaka or Partey go if we could get someone in better than that. That big one, because Partey I don't think can play week in, week out, and with Xhaka I think that, you know, we do need to upgrade on that there, like, you know. And I would be looking to getting someone at left back that's going to be able to play more than 5-10 games a season. For me, my patience has run out with the likes of Partey and Tierney, and they're the 2 best players, you know, but they just wasn't around enough last season, Dan, and without 1 game a week, and they still couldn't go for it, like, you know. So I'm very, very cautious about them 2, you know what I mean? We rely on them well because they're probably our best 2 players on their day in the team, but they're just not there long. They're not there. I'm fed up with players continuously getting injured, Dan. I'm sorry, like, my patience has run out with them.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, mate. And at the start of the season, I said we needed a number 8 and a centre forward still. We've got the centre forward in Jesus that I hope will be the one that we all hope he is. I still feel we need a number 8. I think actually the first 11, though, is looking okay. And that was why I said that top 4 should have been realistic last season, because I didn't think the team was actually that bad. Let's take one from our good friend and regular listener of the show, Tanner, Bearded Gooner. Hope you're well, Tanner. He says, big up, gents. Been a while. Looking good. Fellas, either of you coming to Baltimore next weekend? Lee?
I unfortunately won't be in Baltimore, but will be in Orlando. So I don't know if you're there, mate, if you're coming down to Orlando, but we'll be in Orlando. But unfortunately, I'm away on holiday next week, so I'm not about for Baltimore, like, you know. But I will be there in Orlando.
There we go. Next question is... No, he's gone to sleep. Fair enough. Okay, so Lee, let's wrap up. Wrap up by this question. How many players are Arsenal going to sign from now until the transfer window closes?
4.
Oh, you've nicked my number. I think it'll be 4 as well, mate. I really do.
Great minds think alike.
I know, mate. I think that's the minimum. I honestly think that's the minimum that we need. And that's along with Jesus, Marquinhos, Saliba, Turner that have all come in as well, some of which were, well, Saliba wasn't even last season. Saliba was 3 years ago that we signed him. So we need to get another 4 in, at least in my opinion, mate. Fair play. Lee, we're going to wrap it up there. I want to say a big up to everyone in the chat. Big up for all of your questions. Thank you for all of your interaction in the chat. If you could do us a favour and smash a like on this video and subscribe if you haven't done so already, that would be amazing. If you can come and support me as well, I'd absolutely love you all for doing that at Football's 12th Man Podcast on YouTube as well. That would be fantastic. And until then, guys, we'll be seeing you next time. Lee, enjoyed that, mate. Always a pleasure speaking to you.
Always a pleasure, Dan. Never a chore, like, and I enjoyed that.
Absolutely, and enjoy your holiday, mate. You're going away, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm staying in this country for the moment. We'll go to the Potters, you know what I mean, for a week with the family, and it's going to be about 30 degrees and sunny, like, you know. So I'm really looking forward to that. You got to have the weather
well there, mate.
Yeah, which looks like we've chosen a good week going there, and of course, but I've got another holiday abroad later on in the summer. But yeah, looking forward to it. Nice little break there. The shop's closed now, so I can just relax now and just go away without the pressures of that and just have a nice week off. And I'm really looking forward to it.
Excellent stuff. Guys, do us a favour, smash a like button. Let's get us up to at least 500 likes. Would be amazing. If you can do that and help us to get to that, would be fantastic. Until then, we'll see you next time. And up the Arsenal. Take care, guys.